Welcome back. This is my attempt to not have bad audio. We'll see how that goes. We will try and click, which apparently we can't do because we have a controller, maybe? I don't know. But we're going to clear these because we know that those were failed runs. We'll stick with day 2 on our lore run. Loaded and continue. So goals for today: 1, item combinations. 2, using those item combinations, we're going to try and up our allowance. We're going to pop. We're going to try and open up areas that we can, that we know about, because reasons. And I will try and see to what extent I can do that, as far as tying in where reasons came from. Because the actual lore itself is probably going to have to wait until I have all the rooms and can actually go through all the letters of everything. I don't want to do it haphazardly, just as I have it, because then I won't know, hey, 20 extra steps because I unlocked some stuff yesterday, like the apple orchard. But yeah, for instance, let's say I find a super cool dig spot that I know I can dig and I have a shovel, and it unlocks something. Then I want to be able to just say, hey, we know this because of some note in the security office. But since we don't have everything in the security office unlocked, I don't want to go through and document all that until I have it all unlocked, basically. Because then it becomes a question of what did I already do and what have I not done, and how do I know when stuff got unlocked. And so it's more of a wait and see if everything's done and do it then. Well, we'll go ahead and do that. Get us possibilities for some more money. Get an item. Not a bad one, too. Because this is going to be big. Let's say I get the dark room. I can go through notes with this and make sure there's no secret keys. So having this will help me do some rooms that I know everything about. Like, again, this room has only this one note, and I know that there's nothing on it, so boom, done. All it is just, hey, we have Lord Evanson, which is a name that we want to keep track of who is he, but also there's a billiard room math puzzle. So no biggie on that, and that will basically cover everything in this room. It has a pawn, by the way. If you don't know, basically every bedroom I think has a pawn. But yeah, so that's not taken care of. We have now done guest bedroom. But by and large, I probably won't do stuff like that again. Days like today, where I have a magnifying glass, I can go ahead and do that for whatever rooms that I personally know I have everything, or am highly confident because I have no reason to doubt that I have everything. So like this hallway is now done because I know there's obviously nothing else going on in this hallway. But stuff like the office, it's like I know some stuff, I may not know everything, so I will suspend talking about stuff that I don't already know. The nook is a rook. The hallway is a nothing. But see, I haven't upgraded the nook yet, so all we have is this stuff and this, which is cool. Any good puzzle notes? Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, order of operations from in to out. Sinclair has many more secrets that he will take to his grave. The fact that I can read that's kind of impressive. I'm proud that I could do that. Antechamber appears to be sealed by all four sides. Must be a way to open. And then, you're noteworthy. Blah 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 blah. Write stuff down. Sinclair may have taken them to the grave, but Jones, aka me, has figured them all out. And by all, I mean some. That's what we're doing here. We're on a quest to figure everything out, to know everything. We have time, and time. I don't know if this room has anything relevant to time, particularly. but we can definitely figure it out from this room. I will go ahead and say this puzzle where you have all the pictures, if I didn't say it before, is relevant to the grid. Basically, and we will find a note that says this because it's just a common note lying around, but it says that, hey, you take one and you subtract the other. So for instance, we have plane and we have plan, therefore the difference is in E, so you would take this spot on your graph where the din is and mark an E. And what that spells is, from the top, if we count small gates, 8 dates track 8 safes. So that tells us there's quote unquote 8 safes. The gates part, I think, is a double entendre, where it actually means 2 different things simultaneously. I will talk about that when we get the drafting room, as long as I don't forget to, which is entirely possible. Okay, magnifying glass. We have M. Lowry, which is relevant to who knows what. May the 2nd. Will always be at least one box which displays only true statements. There will always be one box which displays only false statements. One box has a prize within, the other 2 are always empty, and nothing extra on the paper. So this room is a check. Because of the other thing, it's got the puzzle, it's got some items, it's also a pawn room. So, pawn parlor. Anyway, let's just get to the puzzle then. Gems are in a box with a statement containing the letter U, which might also include this box. The blue box is true, that contains a U. Gems are in a box with a statement containing the letter B. Well, this has box. This has box. This has box in blue, so this has to be true because they all have B. If that's true, that's true. This has to be false, so we want a box without the letter U, which would be not U. The gems are in a box with a statement containing the letter B. This does not have a U in it. I'll go ahead and take this door and double back to the other one. That's not particularly helpful, but I have gems, so we won't worry about it. Security would be nice here because it's just infinite connectivity. Sure, go ahead and get that out of the way. Okay, no items. We have this stuff. I want to do this already because I don't want to do the terminal. I know I don't want to do the terminal yet. I guess I can do literally everything else. So we have up here crown and something and swivel. Blue memos equals true. Red memos equals lies, unless written by hand. So there's your fun fact. This is not written by hand. Therefore, the antechamber is perpetually locked. Blue is basically always true. Nothing to see. Here is how we know the terminal password. Staff notice. Effective the first week of December, payroll for all live-out and seasonal staff will be managed electronically. As your attendance will no longer be registered at morning roll call, it is doubly important that you do not fail to clock in and out at one of the electronic computer terminals on the estate. 2 of these terminals can be found at security, where the punch-in clock used to be, and in the laboratory. You can also find one in the office and in the shelter. Any questions or concerns regarding this process should be directed, as always, to our house manager, Mrs. Babbage. Terminal password, we can't see it until you see, with the magnifying glass, SWANSONG. One song. Thus we know what the password to get into the terminal is. State inventory, I have missed nothing. My keycard system will go ahead and just lower everything, even though I don't like that. I want that to be high, I just haven't deactivated it yet, so I need to be safe. Log into network. Let's see. Suan Song. Ironically, capitalization does not matter. Even though in such a system it absolutely would. So we have staff services. Punch in out. It's been disabled as of November 4th. I did want to go ahead and note this because this exists. Request schedule change is the exact same thing. Staff announcements. Saturday, November 7th was day 1. This helps justify that, but there's also another thing. This justifies that we would be reading this on November 7th. We have special orders for the commissary, for Watson in particular. Like, let me think what's going to be good. Sledgehammer would be good to have. And it won't be for today, it'll be for the next couple days, but there's a lot of things that we can use, and just in case we don't get it today. That's everything from staff services, remote terminal access. We don't have connected, so we can't do it right now. Electronic mail is only accessible via the office. Oops. I have to go back in the entire thing, don't I? Good old dial-up. Dial-up, my beloved. Data transfer is not currently available. It says data transfer from Cinca. And I'll be honest, I think Cinca, obviously it's related to Herbert's middle name because Herbert Sinclair has a special S as his middle name S. And the safes have that special S when they put Cinca. So Cinca is probably some kind of affiliate with Herbert, unless it's his actual middle name, but I feel like it is a pun on sink. Because in the kitchen, I don't know if we showed it last time, in the kitchen when you give it water, you can turn on the sink. I don't know what on earth that does, but I feel like there's a sink pun in here somewhere. Maybe it's like sink, it's not S-I-N-K, it's S-Y-N-C, I don't know. I don't know what kind of sink we're dealing with, but yeah, we also have these glossary terms with some stuff that's not filled in. First day is mostly filled in, but actually the vast majority of it is already filled in. That's cool. But yeah, I want to come back and go through all of these once it's completely filled in. And until then, we're leaving it out alone. But overall, that's the network. That's kind of a first look at it, but it is not a conclusive look at it, so I will not by any means mark the security room off a checklist. I guess I want to work off entry hall now. Got plenty of steps, so it's not like I'm gonna hurt anything by doing this 2-step double back. Let's see what we want to do. Probably corridor. Chapel doesn't get me anywhere. Nursery. Nursery wouldn't hurt, I guess. We've still got the passageway to go to the right. Actually, nursery sounds better. It'll give me the gym in return, usually, or an item. Key, that's fine. Actually, if I can use this on the cover page, why not try? I've never actually gone through this with magnifying glass. Little Red Prince, little me. As the book itself shows. I really don't think there's anything on the blank pages, but because on the underground map, something that doesn't show up normally shows up with the magnifying glass, I'm just being extra cautious. Any small detail hidden in the blank. Absolutely nothing. Oops, what did I just press on? Investigate everything. Lit candle. It's not a jeweled candle. That's important to note. There was a Red Prince. who sat on a red throne, had a red crown made of rubies, a red castle made of stone. Everything seemed normal. If we had a red crest, that would be interesting. But nope, castle, still king on a big throne. Everything seems normal. Prince had a love for all things red. It's the only true color, the prince often said. Apple. Apple by the fire hydrant. Rose. Apple. Lobster. For no particular. The blank sign. The red flag. And a blue flag as its shadow. Is it interesting, right, that the shadows are all bluish, greenish, purple? I find that fascinating for lots of reasons, but mostly because in the in scene that we saw last time, ooh, ding, in the in scene last time, where we saw, I'm assuming our mother reading this book to us and giving it kind of a final proper ending. She was wearing a blue scarf where everything around was red. We will find out when we go through all the library stuff that we live like it's Reddington, right? Like everything in the area is red. All of Finn Aries, which is kind of the kingdom or whatever you want to call it that we live in, is kind of a red, what do you call it, a red nation. Not making any kind of connotations with it, but just it's a nation defined by the color red, however you want to think of it. But it's interesting that everything is shadowed blue and not like black or something else. That seems relevant to life somehow. It all matters. Oh my gosh, it all matters. He could not stand the sight of a canary or crow. He could not stand the white of a swan in the snow. Also, we have some allusion to the crow later on. I don't know how relevant these things are to actual people or events. Crow is very crow colored. Golden bird is, oh, it's canary. Canary, or canary is usually golden. For some reason that's not clicking as an obvious fact in my brain, but it might be an obvious fact. Oh no, don't look. He never, yeah. And he never looked up for fear of the view. He had heard the sky was not a red hue. Still buried, saddened by the blue sky, always had his head down. Okay, there's one per point on the crown, so does that mean that there's 5 rubies? That would be fascinating, because I happen to know of 5 rubies. I know exactly 5 rubies. 4 birds, no cloud, no secrets. So he always had a book to turn his eyes down if he was ever outside when the clouds weren't around. Although if he doesn't like the swan in the snow, then why is he okay with the cloudy sky? The cloudy sky red in Reddington? Is that a thing? I do not understand. I cannot see what's written in the book. We still have 5 points on the crown. That's a really fascinating detail. Because I know about 6 safes, one of which doesn't have a ruby in it. So 6 safes and 5 rubies. And 1 small gate. So if we count small gates, 8 gates crack 8 safes, right? So in theory, I know of 7 out of 8 things. And do you know which book the prince had, always had? One that made him happy whenever he was sad. Guessing it was red since he likes it so much. Also, I don't think we've ever found a red bedroom. So, has a little crown on it. 5-pointed crown. Story he had read in the back of the bed. Maybe you can guess what the clues we have said. Drip, drip, shoes. Ground. Red. Path. I pointed and clothes. Don't look. Disrespectful. Twitter.com. There's a story of a boy who also wore red, and he looked like our prince from his toes to his head. It's a book about him. He's reading the book about him. Still a 5-pointed crown. Mirror with a crown on it. Boxes. Clock. I don't know how relevant that is, but clock and table and chair and lampstand are all, looks like they're being packed. And as you, my reader, might already assume, the book is quite near you, and in fact in the same room. Prince had a love for all things red. It's the only true color, the prince often said. A story about you, if it needs to be said, about a red prince in his book, the red book we just read. It's also red and red, right? So that's interesting. It's an A. I don't think it's not a replacement. I think it's a pun. That's the end of the book. Only interesting note is the red pun, and obviously it's a book talking about me reading the book about me. So it's kind of, bookception. But part of me wonders with this packing and stuff, if at some point, like we lived, I don't know if we're going to say if we lived in Reddington. I know that we spent some time here because our grandfather alludes to it, or great uncle alludes to it, that we had spent some time here as a child. But I don't know if this is something about like we had to move at some point in our lives. I had this whole political theory that we're like fleeing persecution of some kind because we're royalty or whatever. So, allusions to the prince and the baron and all of that kind of supports that. This look about moving also kind of has ties to that idea. It's not solid enough I can be like, oh yeah, this is what it is also upon. I can't really say it's definitively true, but I have a few things that kind of point to that, and also Mother Goose. So this is definitely a nursery. And also all things motherly, like I'm in bedrooms, right? But nursery things, and also a room that we haven't seen in this run is also purple, has purple diary and such. So it's kind of interesting how purple's kind of, I mean, colors are all significant in this game, but how those tie together with our world building is always very interesting. Cool, this early? Who dis? I'll take it. Pool is very full. Honestly, kind of lost the plot. What am I doing today? Coins, stuff. And unlocking, I guess. I'm over here just treating it like a board ride. Like, oh yeah, this is a fun game. Let me just play it with no intent in mind. Honestly, wouldn't hate that. But that is not why we are here. We are unlocking all the secrets of this game. Oh, what should I pick? There's not really a correct answer here. Sure, we'll give ourselves a package tomorrow. Maybe something today. Nope, nothing today. We'll go ahead and look at this. Mailroom is significant in the fact that it has a couple of notes we can look at currently. Please return all correspondence and packages addressed to Denny Vervain to sender, as he is no longer employed with our staff. Did they ever prove he was the one that stole the Baron's mail? That's a good question. I don't know. Here's the same thing where in the laboratory you have HSS for Herbert S. Sinclair, and the middle one is this fancy S for Cinca Company, Corporation, whatever. So, yeah, whether it's a CK replacement where it's Cinca, or whether it's a YI where it's Cinca, is a question that I have and have not resolved personally. Royal Mail. We are royalty. Those have no numbers, so we probably won't ever get to open anything there. This is our note from dear old dad in Finn Aries. And again, red kind of defines Finn Aries. The grand realm of Finn Aries. In fog we are lost, in fire we are found. Has a pentagram or pentagon. Pentagram is completely different. Pentagon. So yeah, red flag, all that stuff. 7P Jones. Mount Holly Estate, Finn Aries, 63080. The different zip code. Same country. Or city, or whatever you want to call it. Well, hey, buddy. How's it going up there in that big house? I think most people would be pretty scared being alone for this type of time. I hate that voice. I'm gonna stop. I have a feeling you are doing just fine. I imagine you are happy as a clam. Yes, I am. Perfectly content on the estate with the exploration and opportunities for adventure that present themselves each day. Absolutely. As I'm writing this, you're currently in the garage packing the tent. I wanted to try and post this letter before we depart tomorrow, so that is a chance to arrive during your first few days on the estate, while I got here second day. With all the preparations, I'm not sure I'm going to find the time. There's so much I want to say, and I'm sure I'll forget to tell you Friday night. Sometimes it's easier for me to just jot this stuff down. You're yelling at me right now to come bring me your pillowcase. Hold on a second, I'll be right back. I can tell you're really excited, but I think you might feel a little guilty about being so happy the day after the funeral. Believe me, I know how long Uncle Herbert worked on setting this up for you, and I know from our conversations just how much happiness the final project brought him. So do both of us a favor, be excited. But it's not fully built by him, I don't think. Like, this house has kind of always been crazy. So I don't know how much he really did do. But what does our dad know and not know about this estate and such? I don't know. That's a great question. The house really is amazing. I know it's been almost 7 years since we were last up there, and I'm really curious to hear just how much you remember from those summer trips. Again, we've been there before, but I don't know that we ever lived here. That's that question I was talking about earlier. You've always been from the also summer trips, so it is kind of a 2-3 month thing, maybe, or just individual trips during the summer for like a week. But summer trips, you've always been smarter than me at this kind of thing, so I'm not sure how much guidance or inspiration I can offer before your trip that will actually be useful to you. Despite my best intentions, I'm sure that on Friday I'll end up leaving you with a few of my overused cliche expressions when we say farewell. Which is why Saturday was day one, and we'll find a calendar later that shows us exactly all about that. But, yeah, so he said his farewell's Friday. Saturday we got here and actually did day one. Or Friday night we got here, slept, and then did day one on Saturday. Peter Alligator Dad. P.S. Get some sleep each night and don't spend all your time playing Irigi blocks. The Irigi blocks. Which is, I think we saw the Mount Holly, like, gift shop, whatever it's called. And Dirigi Blocks was mentioned there as like a future DLC or something, so that's going to be something to look forward to in the future. Dirigi Blocks will be some kind of other fun, addicting puzzle thing that may not have any relevance to World, but will absolutely be beloved by all and played for hours. Drawing room, which I can't afford. I need a dead end here so I can afford stuff, basically. No storeroom. Storeroom to get a gym and a key. Didn't really care about the money because I'll lose it instantly anyway. That's kind of all the storeroom has to offer until we can upgrade it. Also pawn. I did not mention, but bishop. Going back to the pool. Also have a random theory that that little thing looks like it's a shutter that could open, but I could be entirely wrong. It's just supposed to be a column or something. Locker room could be interesting. Honestly, I'm going to billiard room, see what I can get. This room has nothing but the puzzle, which is weird because I feel like it should have more than the puzzle considering how much is set up. 2. 16 minus 10 is 6. 2 times 6 is 12. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 6 minus 1 is 5. Times 3 is 15. Divided by 5 is 3. Give me that. That's nice. Can I double back to security quickly? I sure can. Let's go ahead and give us maximum security doors. That way, we probably don't need utility closet or garage. We don't need utility closet because we don't need garage because we already have the west side open. And therefore, we can save on a couple of possible rooms that we could use, that we're going to use for something different. Use the key. None of these are my favorite options, honestly, but I guess I'm going with pantry. I have one gym and I don't want to spend it right now. This one's interesting, right? In general, it's just, hey, please pick up more fruit for Friday. As we have, I'm just going to read it. As we have just been informed that we may have an extra guest exploring the house next week. Me. 50 steps should be more than enough, so I think the ideal spread would be 5 apples. An even spread would be ideal. 5 apples, 5 bananas, 5 oranges. Those amounts should cover expenses, but please bring back any change from the order and leave it in the pantry. Makes it sound like every day 5 apples, 5 bananas, and 5 oranges has been left out. But I usually don't find that many. And then whatever's in the pantry was left over. So if we get more stuff, more coins in the pantry, then we spent less on, then we have less fruit. Because it's more money back. Anyway, the interesting thing about this is that Bridget is like bridge it. What does bridge have to do with any of this? Of course, I know a couple things about a couple bridges, but I don't know. I genuinely don't know why this refers to a bridge. I don't know what the pantry has to do with, and food in general has to do with a bridge. I just know some stuff about some bridges. The right would be nice. All of these are nice, actually. But I kind of want to go to the foundation. This may be a bad decision. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to hope for a pump room to come up again in the future. Then to win. We're going to do this. Now that we can kind of zoom in on stuff, it's kind of nice to go through and explore as many rooms as we can. Stars. Fixed stars. The Stargazer's Companion to Constellations by Richard Witt, 1809. Binaries. This book contains a complete star map, also looking for hidden things. List of constellations and the observed effects that accompany the appearance of each one. These are only unique items, by the way. Depending on the number of stars that can be seen in the sky on any given day, different constellations of various sizes may be visible, sometimes more than one on a single day, especially when you get to the higher days. You get a bunch of them. This book, a solid base for astronomy, will help you easily identify these constellations, impress your friends, and discover the joy of stargazing. The North Star is just a single one. Oops, that's not what I wanted. The twins, 2 chunks have been added to the entrance hall. Slice, 3 steps. Diamondus Miner, 1 gem. Southern Cross with 4 doors are more common today. Farmer's Apple, apples are extra delicious today. Clavis, the key, +1 key. Diamondus Major, 5 gems. Draxus, the dead. Dead Ingrams are more common today. And it's kind of a skull. But we've gone from more or less 1 to what's 5 really. 1 to 5, we skipped 6, skip 9, 10, skip 13, 14, and skip 16 through 19. Sale, everything is 50% off today because sale, wink wink. Borealis, bloom of the sky. Green rooms are more likely to contain special flowers today, aka gems. That's in the book. We will see all of that in the future. I can spin these things ad infinitum, and it does not do anything. I don't know why. So we need that to be what, Ray? Oh yeah, no, no, I think I'm good. I will prove myself wrong in just a moment. Sure will. Look at that. I click it, barely goes anywhere. When I unveil its secrets, or the higher, oh, okay. Let us unveil its secrets and then see what it actually has to offer. Maybe 2 more. Yeah, I'll be right back. Hurrah! As far as I know, nothing tells you to do this except for the fact that you can. You see this on the side, you're like, hey, what's that? A hatch? And you open it up, voila, you have a full plan. Yes, we'll add it. And there's nothing else in there ever again. I'll turn it back so we can do it because 2 stuff has been added to the entrance hall. And I like chests as much as the next guy, so we will go ahead and do it. The twins. I'm excited to get star count up because star count is a fun thing. It's when it gets really high. You can do all kinds of stuff with stars. Well, I can't do any of these. I mean, I didn't need to, I suppose, but having no gems is no fun. Having locked doors is no fun either. Take me up, I guess. Still have like no items, and it's really unfortunate. I need to be making progress, instead I'm struggling to survive. Oh, I am dead in the water too. Look at that. Well, it was a crappy run in the first place, so whatever. As he justifies himself for making forces. I have a gym now, thing. Can't do anything with the few items I have, so we will. Anything we can do in the underground. You spin me right round. I don't know. Let me think if there is anything. I guess I can. Let me think if I can. Yes, no, I'll go ahead and do it, yeah. I know of one thing I can do, so we'll go ahead and do it. That way it's just shown. I don't think there's anything in here, actually. There are pictures, which is interesting. You can actually get pictures for Foundation. It just happens to be down here, so... Oh, upgrade disc here. Didn't know that. Chart and cart. The answer is an H. I have security on that. Yeah, I can just upgrade. Today. Nice. I can go this way. Yes, this is the way I want to do this. Still can't do anything about that. I will go ahead and use it as is because it stays the way it was left. Let's go ahead and open everything up right back here and look at everything. Okay, let's go. There's nothing for me to see back there that I haven't already seen so far. Like, I don't have the ability to see anything new. But I don't want the magnifying glass to go to waste. It's basically the long and short of maximizing this run. Because I have a magnifying glass, I want to go ahead and look at everything I can. So we go into this thing between the main entrance and the other side of the minecart entrance. I don't know why Minecraft is what I want to say. I don't even play it. Oh no, he doesn't even play it. What a horrible person. Anyway. I wonder if the assay number is important at all. Anyway, Scripts and Redford Mining Company. Excavation Department. Foreman's Log 608. Date. May 3rd, 19. Can I see anything particular standing out that I don't want to miss? Not particularly, no. After almost 3 years in tunnels, Esnar has informed me that we will be closing up the site in June. It has been a somewhat bittersweet experience working on such a historically significant excavation over the past 30-odd months, yet being unable to share any of that work with the world, maybe one day. Still, there's a significant amount of work that has yet to be done, and it is vitally important that we conclude our efforts in the main cavern and reinforce the structural integrity of the site before we seal the tunnels next month. It may be generations before they're reopened. That being 1918, it seems like it was done long ago, right? Which goes back to reinforce my point about our beloved uncle. It's like, how, or granduncle, I don't know that he's the one who orchestrated a lot of this. Even the dad seems to think so. What am I trying to do here? I don't think that's the right one. I think I want that one. Yeah. In which case, that doesn't help at all. Does this help anyone? No, I'm on top of the one where it's linked, isn't it? Okay. What I can do though, I can do this and just backtrack over there. That'll work. I've got the steps. I've got nowhere to go, so I'm gonna go out. Oh, I should have freaking. I could have used the outer room. Ah, I'm dumb. That's fine. That's why I'm here on YouTube making content, because I'm dumb. Y'all can laugh at me. Coming over here, we get the Mechanarium, a room I've basically never used in my entire life. We'll add it to the drafting pool because we're trying to add as much as we can. Here is the full map of the underground, and as promised, I will go through. We see a number 7, which according to our map is the torch chamber. We have a 5, which is the fountain entrance. I won't paint back and forth anymore, I'm just showing off that kind of stuff. So 5 is the fountain, which we may or may not have already used once. It's the reservoir, which leads to basically us at 8. 8 is the rotating gear, is what it's called. 9 is to north lever. You are here right now. Up here is the catacombs, and 6 is the tomb entrance, if we come down by the tomb, but I think that's probably one thing we did do. 4 is the minecart. We have down here on the other side, right, we come out here at 2, which is where we came from, which is the concealed entrance. 1 is the foundation elevator, so we know all about that. In the basement, we got a lot of light covered stuff. Come down here, 3 is the cliffside exit. Also, if we go down to this list of things that we were just going through, 10, buried floor plan, is very small and basically invisible. And it's right here at the corner. This is where we dug up the lost and found. This is how I knew it was here, but if you just take a picture of this map and zoom in, you cannot see that 10. That 10 is not visible without the magnifying glass. Trust me, I tried. That's why I can say it's basically not there. You can see this part. You can see buried floor plan. You can't actually see the tin, which is a fascinating detail. So yeah, that's the map I wanted to show that off. That's how we knew where the buried floor plan was to dig. And the fact that it was buried means we had to dig. Now, I do want to go ahead and set up the uppies. Where am I? Who am I? What am I doing? I wish I could unspin this at some capacity, but I guess not. We will just spin ourselves rather far around. That's the one that has commonality, so I want that to be over there. Okay, going to number 2 now. Oh, that one's 0, this one 1, and this one 2. No particular reason. We can now elevate our thoughts, which gives us different connections. But see, it gives bridges to that, and I have no idea how to get to that, but that seems like something I want to get to. It also elevates, if we can, our eyes, these and things. It also elevates that gear, and I don't know if that gear is relevant to literally anything, but it exists, and therefore I'm curious about it. I have the right to be curious about everything. That was the raise and lower, so this is thingy. Everything turns together as far as I can tell. I don't know anything that doesn't turn, including the lower gear. I think it does turn as well, so that's a fascinating fact. It would be nice if there was something here that I could click or observe or do. But as far as I can tell, it's plain, which means it really should just be a connection to the upper world, and I have no idea how or when or why we get to that. So, until we do, we're just going to leave it elevated because we have no use for it to be not elevated at this point. We've unlocked everything. Free hole punch, nice. So yeah, that's basically everything I wanted to do down here for the time being. And luckily when the day resets, the puzzle doesn't. I don't know, for some reason I don't think a person. I didn't think it was an actual person, it's just like, hey, person shaped. This, I don't know, did we see the foyer last time? This looks like, Jirari, what's her name? Who may have been a queen at some point. And she wears a crown and some of her stuff. This may be her, but there's no lettering to suggest any person different. But we have very few females. We have Lady Epstein. Autistic me. We have that person who may or may not be the same, but they don't have the last name. It's like Jirari Yena, which may also be like if you say it the right way, you hear a word out of it. I have not figured that out. This looks like the one who's referred to as something. I don't think it's Baron, but it's some kind of title. Nicholas. Oh yeah, it's Major Nicholas Key the Fourth, which is, since we know from the music room, I think we've seen in this run. The music room has a major key and a minor key, and what I've seen in the music room is prismatic key, key card, secret garden key, and silver key are the 4 major keys I've seen. I don't know how that ties to the statue in the foyer. I don't know if that's relevant to anything. Maybe there's only 4 major keys. Of course, there's other keys that I feel like could be considered major keys, like the we will see another key coming up. Not this run, but at some point. There's another key that I kind of consider a major key because it, like the basement key, right? The basement key doesn't fit in normal locks, so maybe that's a major key because it's a special key. But I don't know how many major keys there are in truth. So there's a question, and I don't know if major key the 4th means you need to have that particular major key to interact with something. A lot of things I don't know regarding the major key. But those are those 2 people, I think. The Ariana and Major Nicholas Key the Fourth. who I don't think is actually named Major Nicholas Key IV. I think he actually has a name. Go figure. Nicholas, I think, is correct. Nicholas is a name we see in other places. I don't know. However, Major Nicholas Key IV, I think Major Key IV is the part that is not accurate. Sadly, we cannot cross this if we do not have garage, so we are stuck here on the other side. Maybe hither side. Hither and thither. We're stuck on hither side. Is there any? Yes, there is. I say yes, there is. I don't actually know if there is, but I'm going to go into the tomb. I'm going to do some stuff down here. I don't remember if I know because I didn't use an outside room when I cleared it, so I'm going to do stuff in the tomb. I forgot about my upgrade disc. I have that. We can't do a whole ton, but we can do this if we didn't already do it. Nope, we didn't already do it. Okay, coming back. Problem is I did so many different things on my failed runs that I don't actually know what I did on the successful run. Except that I didn't have this one and I don't remember what I did on day 2. This, you know, the chapel has the angels marked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I believe. If we lower them in the order of their number, there's also some free stuff down here. Then that opens up. Random stone tablet that I don't know means anything. Each of our journeys come to a conclusion here in the tomb. This foreplan is the definitive dead end, or is it? Well, it's not because we can open this up, right? Da 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 da. Get more tombs, more skulls, so very, thematic, on point. Big as frick arrow, but doesn't go anywhere except when we have one more angel to lower. And considering we have already known from the star thing, the thing that says Draxus the Dead, it could very well be Draxus. Who knows? This is a piece of the map. Nothing particularly special about this side, except... Actually, I want to see if it's on the map. Not really. The angel is kind of pointing to a place on there, and that's not insignificant. But I won't spoil it just yet. But I do know what that means. Coming through, nothing interesting. We come down here, and oh look, minecart. I'll go ahead and use the steps to look at every other room. We have this torch room with another piece of the puzzle. We must have come in here already because the upgrade disc is also in here. We have a sigil of some kind. We will learn about that later. I have an idea about what that is. I'm not sure if it's the one I thought of, but it's definitely A1. And we have the other side of this, which leads out the fountain, but the fountain is currently empty. Did I have that empty fountain? Sure enough, my fountain was empty. Love it. There was no point to going into the tomb, except to have done it. Oopsies. I'll go back just to do, I want to go through a run through of all the, there's going to be some notes I can't read right now, for reasons, but I'm going to go through and read all the notes I can read. I already did one, I think there's at least one more, maybe 2. Then I'll go back to security to upgrade my upgrade disc. I know that there's one over here, which is terrifyingly sad, so brace yourselves for this. Open only in the event of my death. There is Orinda Ares with an angel, but I'm trying to see what it's holding. Oh, it's got the scepter with the ball on it, so yeah, it's a king with a crown. Okay. That checks out. Simon, so here's where it all ends, at least for me. Also, we have a Mount Holly thing logo. And of all the picturesque places of this grand estate, I chose this dreary, dank dungeon to be laid to rest. And that same dim, somber fate fell upon my father and his father before him, who loved the outdoors even more than myself. They say there is no stronger bond of servitude than tradition, and family tradition, twice as strong. These are chains that seldom bend and never break. And I do wonder what plans and prospects of yours will be sacrificed upon that family bond of convention. What biography of your own will you forsake to add another page to your father's memories, or to your mother's, or to mine? In our youth, we are gifted with dreams and ambitions. At our death, we are left with realities and regrets. I think there is no greater sin than to perpetuate tradition that stagnates growth, that strangles purpose, and that suffocates dreams. What point is there to live another's life at the end of our own? Yeah, but, clearly not every tradition if it doesn't stagger growth or whatever. Stagnate growth. Oh, how I wish to have been buried underneath the great oak overlooking the plains, the wondrous woods, and the worldly mountains, and the wild holly that surrounds that trunk, a perpetual token of sympathy laid across my grave. What dreadful tradition is it that dumped me in this sunless hollow? And if by morbid example this dark crypt makes any impression whatsoever upon you, if reading this letter within those damp halls plants in you a seed of hope, if these words might grant you strength to bend if not break these chains, then I would cherish this tomb more than oak, and sycamore and spruce. More than the wondrous woods and worldly mountains, this cold stone room would become the most cherished place in all our domain. I would have you raise a shrine upon this spot, which we saw there is a shrine. I would have you raise a shrine upon this spot to commemorate the moment of your liberty, to treat this sepulchre as hallowed ground, to realize that grand gestures can be as effective as they are theatric, and to, in turn, as recompense for the freedom thus granted you, commit yourself to be buried here. Here within this mausoleum of dreams, and when the day comes to write your own letter, to inspire the next generation that follows in our footsteps, as is tradition. Herbert Fancy S. Sinclair. Which really, I don't know, I get different sentiments from this. It's a really curious one. On the first set, he's saying, basically following in my family's footsteps brought me to this dank and dreary and sad tomb, and I don't want to be here. But also, if you can find your freedom, quote, to bend if not break these chains, then, being buried in this tomb was worth it. Raising a shrine on the spot to commemorate the liberty, to treat the sepulchre as hallowed ground, and to, in turn, to pay back the freedom that was granted you, commit yourself to also be buried here. This is not just a place of death, but a place of, I don't know. It's a confusing sentiment, right? There are two versions of the tomb. There's the one which is, I only follow tradition and thus I'm buried here like everyone else. And there's the other one where I had a great time and got my dreams, and in, I don't know, payment, in recompense, in some sort of balance for getting to live the dream life, I'm buried in a dismal death. I don't know, it's just a really weird sentiment going on there. Why can't you have your dream life and be buried out in the freedom? I don't have a shovel. Cool. So yeah, that note kind of confuses me as far as what sentiment it's supposed to express. Except just the duality of a place depending on how you look at it. Which, I do understand that one, I guess. A tomb can be both, a tragic place but also a resting place. I don't know why he's break these chains and make it. I mean, again, there is there is the shrine that we can draft here. But he does this weird thing of build a shrine and consider this place hallowed ground and live your life and then choose to be buried here as a payment for getting to live the life you wanted to live. That was just, again, Just a weird sentiment that I don't fully understand, and I don't see another note, so I'm done with that. Fascinating things nonetheless. Fascinating things nonetheless. Did I go and check out the mine area? I've got plenty of steps. I got nowhere to go, so we can check out the mine area, read that note, read that date, see if there's any name drops, and then kind of call it a day. Haven't opened that yet, but we will. The mine must be over here because that's another gate. I want to open this gate, and I don't know. I'm not going to wait steps, I guess, if I can help it, but I haven't opened that gate, but it also leads to a path that way, and the garage has another gate that leads back to the back. I don't know how to open any of those, and I want to, and I don't know if it's even possible. But if the devs ever watch me for no particular reason, because I don't know if there's any reason to watch me, please give us DLC that opens up more stuff that we've seen before, so that we can have a little bit of reason to our insanity. Like, oh, everything's a puzzle, we have to open everything. Anyway, here's just a random note. It's not even listed for anything. Here is the last of the equipment for the new mine. I don't think we're going to need more than this, especially if we're going to limit excavation to 2 stones per day. I was told by the engineer that getting greater than that might risk the structural integrity of the cave walls, so I suppose we'll have to adhere to his expert opinion, at least for now. Hence the rationale rationale for us only getting 2 gems per day. We managed to remove all but 1 minecart from the old tunnels where we had to move the 1 minecart. 2 of which were too rusted and worn down to be of any use to us up here, so Dave went ahead and made this call to scrap them. I don't know if we ever find those, but those apparently were scrapped. I'm not sure that the foreman is going to be too happy about that, but hopefully you can smooth it over. Now there's still 1 more cart down there, but it's blocked on a short track, again the one that we moved. That's way too difficult to move from the reservoir side. It's a little bit awkward because it's blocking the passage, so I suggest someone move it from the other side so they can get over there. The boss informed us that there are 2 more ways into the site from that side, but I think we're going to leave that for someone else to finish up if the old man really wants it done. AKA me, I did that. I got it done. I'm sad that I can't collect all these gems. I already did this, I think, so no point in doing it again. You probably already read that, but now we have the magnifying glass to confirm we are smart. And I'll go ahead and read the thing back here with the magnifying glass just to double check it. I don't know if the bird baths are a puzzle. I feel like this is a puzzle, but I don't know what because it's a fake sundial. The sun doesn't move in this world, but this sundial does not tell time. It is perpetually at 3:25, and I don't know why because I don't know what happens. It could be one of those, oh, you have to look at it from where the thing is, and then it points to 12:15 or whatever. I don't know about none of that. It's also an arrow that kind of points in that direction, which is not properly lined up to the line, especially when the line's way over here. So I don't know what the heck this even is. But it's basically an arrow, right? So where is it pointed? What is it pointed to? Can I click something that I don't think I can click because I do know one example where that is true. But tell me your secrets. Maybe I need an item for that. I don't know. I don't have much in the way of items right now, so this just feels like a magnifying glass would love to be useful here. Mount Holly, Gardener's Logbook, 1992, which again instigates that Robert Nogula, groundskeeper. Let me see if he name drops it because I want to talk about something. Eddie Epson's death. Does he mention Herbert at all? I don't think so. If it was Herbert Sinclair, I don't know when the Epsons had this place. The Baron. I don't know. Okay, we'll go through this again. When I first came to the estate in the capacity of a new groundskeeper, I was a little dismayed to find my predecessor had kept no notes, no logbook, and no record of any kind regarding the various gardens and green rooms of the house under its care. As a result of this improvidence, in the first few months of my post, I suffered a number of embarrassing professional blunders that I believe could have been avoided with even a few scraps of imparting wisdom from the previous groundsman. We will see later, the previous groundsman was let go for complete averageness. To that end, I'll make an effort to make some record of my dealings on the estate, inasmuch as it pertains to horticulture and general tomfoolery. Robert Nodula, groundskeeper. Boy, do I love tomfoolery. Shovel. Among my many commissioned duties, I have been tasked with the conservation and oversight of Mount Holly's alluring grounds. My domain stretches from gate to gate and encompasses the apple orchard, entrance drive, and east yard. The east yard. We haven't ever had the east yard. We have the west yard. Anyway, fortunately for my workload, the maintenance of the west grounds has not been a priority since Lady Epson's death and the ensuing closure of the west wing. The west wing is the one with the tomb and the outside stuff. We have the west wing. We don't have the east yard. We have the entrance drive, which we can, on the lab, one of the experiments that we can do can spread dirt on the quote-unquote driveway. That'll be the entrance drive. The apple orchard we unlocked to get the extra 20 steps. But the east yard is one that we have not opened, so I feel like that's relevant. Because, and I think I said this last time, it's the one with the statue and the boat. Anyway, nevertheless, I take some pride in my work, so I still endeavor to brush the west path weekly, even if none but myself take notice. In addition to maintaining the grounds, there are 8 green rooms within the house that require some level of upkeep and light groundskeeping. The majority of these, I discovered, are only draftable on the perimeter of the house along the east and west wings. You have the terrace, the patio, the veranda, the morning room, the greenhouse, and secret garden all fall within this category. That is 6 right there. The morning room, let me think. The terrace is the one that gets rid of the cost to green rooms. The patio is the patio. It has usually 2 dig spots. A gym, it's the one that spreads gyms in all green rooms. Veranda costs 2 gyms, is just a straight shot. Usually has dig spots. Usually has an item or a chest, trunk, whatever you want to call it. Morning room, you have to buy something in particular. You have to get bacon and eggs from the kitchen usually to draft the morning room. The greenhouse is where the broken lever is, and the secret garden has lots of stuff there. Okay, soil survey. One of the few tasks I undertook as groundskeeper was to conduct a survey of the various plots of soil underneath each slot on both the east and west wings of the house. And while I would have preferred a full survey of all 45 plots of the house, it was clear that the inconvenience such an undertaking would produce was in no way worth the extra data, especially considering the rooms that would benefit from this survey only ever appear in the wings. So basically, we don't care much about the middle, even though some can be drafted in the middle. And I'm curious, like obviously aquarium counts as every room. So that would put us to 7. Was that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Yeah. So with the aquarium, that would give us 7 green rooms. I don't know what the 8th green room is. 8th green room is off the top of my head. Terrace, patio, veranda, morning room, greenhouse, and secret garden is all the ones I could think of off the top of my head. Plus, again, the aquarium, which is technically every room. So, to quantify soil quality, I measured the soil's capacity to support crop growth and maximize the promise of high yields. The survey ended up taking 2 weeks due to some difficulty reaching the higher ranks, but the project was well worth the effort. I suspected the room position has a direct relationship to the amount of fruit spread from gardens, aka the secret garden, and the amount of flowers that can bloom in a greenhouse. Neighbors. Survey results. X is for barren ground, which means we're going to get no items, or anything. No turnips, no nothing. Poor soil means we'll get a little bit. Good soil means we'll get pretty good stuff, and rich soil means we'll get lots of goodies. I don't know if there's a significance in the fact that this square is bigger than this square. Is there a reason that these are smaller and bigger squares? Maybe the size of the square indicates dig spots, so you'll get more dig spots on the right side, and at the higher ranks of the left side. And is that also because, I don't know. My other thought was that the west side is almost never locked because we have that false note in the hallway. Or let me think, is it in the hallway? I think it's in the hallway. That says the doors on the west side are more likely to be locked, but it's false, so the west side is more likely to be unlocked. And therefore, the good soul is on the east side. Perhaps that's a proper thing. We have these little guys. Smudge pots, which I've never used. A few years ago, the Baron made the long overdue decision to switch from gas lighting to electrical power. The installation of the new system was a substantial undertaking, as almost every room in the house had to be equipped with new fixtures and wiring. Thankfully, these renovations did not extend beyond the mansion's interior, and all the lamps and equipment used outside of the house are still connected and powered by gas line, including but not limited to the orchard's smudge pots. The smudge pots found among the apple trees here in the orchard are a critical necessity thanks to the cold temperatures and high altitude of the estate. These gas-burning stack heaters prevent frost and should be kept on during the winter months to ensure the daily yield of apples. I don't know if that ever matters, honestly. When the smudge pots are not in use, the orchard's gas line should be turned off to conserve resources for the estate's other gas-powered machinery and appliances, aka the elevator. After a few months of idleness, I finally have a new cause to champion, and I have submitted a request for a change of scenery. Specifically, I would like to replace the statue of Orinda currently in the cloister with the much more appropriate angel Rina, or Rhina. After all, as beautiful as the statue is, shouldn't the greenery of Mount Holly be governed by the paragon of gardening? Makes sense. Though amused, I do not think Anne, aka Anne Babbage, aka the head house person, took the request too seriously, though she did humor me and listen to me rave and pontificate on the subject for the better part of our lunch yesterday. And she wonders why I avoid tending to the cloister. Truth be told, I have long forgotten how to access the inner garden. Oh, cloister's the one that wasn't mentioned. Duh. Truth be told, I've forgotten how to access the inner garth, and am too scared of chastisement to probe for the particulars for a third time. My best rendition, good considering I've only ever seen Rinda's depiction in the chapel. Because again, all the angels are in the chapel. This one has the hoe. Okay, that's all of the book. So it is advising me, presumably, should I upgrade the cloister, that we should have Rinna in there instead of Orinda. So yeah, that's a thing that we now know that we probably should do if we want to be, extra efficient. Again, I can turn, where is it? I can turn this off, and these smokestacks will start pumping out smoke again, but I don't know if the apple orchard ever dies from cold. I don't think that's a real phenomenon that happens in this world. Kind of like the sun turning on the sundial. Like, is this property ageless? What's going on? But keeping it turned off, I guess, has the elevator flame lit. And I don't see, that's the question. I've never actually tried turning it off after I have the elevator unlocked. So that may be a valuable thing to try. Otherwise, what I'm going to do is go to security, put in the upgrade disc. Maybe we can upgrade the cloister. That'd be kind of nice. And then in the day, that'll be it, because I've been myself pontificating quite a lot. So, did this one actually? Yeah, doors in the western room will likely be locked. So from that we know that it's false, because red numbers are lies unless they're handwritten, which that one is just kind of typed like everything else. So that's all that means. So we will insert disk. Boudoir. Okay, boudoir is one. Even though it's technically a bedroom, it's not really meant for steps. So you can either get a gem out of it, you can get 3 apples, which again, depending on like your laboratory experiment, can be super useful. Like, hey, every time I eat an apple, do X. That does exist, but in general, I don't know that I use that much. 2 dice would be nice to have on literally every run. Gems, 1 gem is not that valuable. And considering it already contains a gem in the safe, it's just not that valuable. I think 2 dice are really, like, you almost never get that resource from anything. So having a constant resource of dice is useful. So that is what we're going with for today. And with that, I suppose I'm going to run out my steps because I don't have anything else I can do. So yeah, we'll just call it a day. Thank you guys for watching. We will continue pursuing our goals in future videos. Bye! Right, I always want to see the house, so. I don't think we got new rooms, but we did do stuff. Mid-sized villa. Total rooms 23, rank reached 6. Steps taken 74. I just found 5. New rooms 4. New rooms 4, really. What did I not do before? The tomb I didn't do before. Maybe it's counting the ones I found, like the planetarium. I don't know. I haven't used the observatory in this run. I haven't used the coat check in this run. That's 3. 2, observatory coat check. Maybe I didn't use the East Wing Hall last time? That sounds like a thing I didn't do. I know I used the mail room, the spare room, or maybe the quest bedroom, because it used to be a guest bedroom. I don't know if the upgrade counts as a new room. Anyway, thank you guys for watching.